everybody. How are you all? Ah, we are live. 30-day shifters. How are you going? For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm one of the co-founders of the 30-day shift, Elsa Morgan, and I have the absolute pleasure of introducing a really good friend of mine, Gerry Huston.
Houston.
And we have a problem. You get that a lot, by the way.
Oh, I get that all the time. So don't worry about it. Even when I've met my husband, obviously before we were married, I'm like, you sure it's Houston or is it Huston? So even back then, Elsa, you're not alone.
I know, like Olive and I have always called it Huston. And anyway, so Gerry Houston, and Gerry and I met way back in Brisbane, I think it was, from memory. And but she is just like this hot mama that is on a mission right now. She's a wife to Tim, who's, absolutely jamming as well. I know he likes hiking. I know that for sure. He likes hiking. And mother to two beautiful boys, but also has this amazing, it's in momentum business where she's currently speaking she's a Bob Proctor expert speaker as well. So expert and speaker, and has a home business in basically just helping people create a shift in their life, and also a law of attraction expert. Welcome, Gerry.
Thank you. I love it. I think I like singing as much as you do, Elsa.
Yes, we both like that.
That was a cool introduction. Thank you so much.
There's a lot to say about you. I want to say it all. I want to say and this, and this, and this, and this, and this.
Gorgeous. Yeah, but
how are you?
Yeah, really good. I'm just trying to think how long ago it was when we did meet, because I don't think I had my second child at that stage. No,
you didn't.
Yeah, I think I might have been pregnant. So that he is nearly 4. So it's over 4 years.
Do you remember seeing you pregnant?
Yes. So, and I've just always loved your energy, girl, and your beautiful family. Yeah. So.
And then you guys came and visited us too.
Mm-hmm, that's right. Met your parents. So.
Met the parents. Watching you fuck.
Yeah. I love it. Oh, so
I know who you are, and I know how awesome you are, and you've just absolutely just flying at the moment. I'm so freaking proud of you. Oh, did I say freaking? But I want everyone to know why I know that you're awesome. Do you want to tell us a little, for everyone else, like who you are, where you come from, etc.?
Definitely. So my background, actually, I was a teacher. So I trained to become a teacher, primary school teacher. And to be honest with you, I thought that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I was going to teach, have my own kids, go back into a classroom. But pretty much after like 7 or 8 years of doing that, I just became a little bit disillusioned with working in that position, because I felt like even if I was putting lots of effort and energy into my class and all of that, even the person next door to me who may not have been working as hard or as diligently, that we were still getting paid the same amount of money. And I just felt like I just wanted to be able to work as hard as I want and make the income that I feel I deserved, but also to have freedom around what I did with my time. I'm married to gorgeous Tim, and he does shift work. So I'd be like, working during the week on his days off, and then he'd be back at work on the weekend, and I'd be like, we just couldn't catch up and see each other. And I just felt like we weren't really spending that quality time. So my background is actually in teaching. And then pretty much like the world opened up to me when I looked at getting into network marketing. And honestly, I was probably like a lot of people on this call who are listening to the replay. I purely went in as a product user. I had no desire to do the business until I saw the products working. Absolutely saw the opportunity, and I'm like, hang on a minute, how did I not know about this before? And so so I was just like, no, I've got to share this, and it purely came from sharing, and then that momentum building and growing and helping people. And I feel like that's what probably a lot of us come into it wanting to do. It's really not so much about us, but it's more about like who we can help and who we can inspire, and also move from like what we're doing to what we really want to be doing and turning up on a bigger scale. So that's when I met the beautiful Elsa, when I was, really going through that journey. And then, as I said before, I had my second son, which was absolutely beautiful. And, yeah, we thought we were going to be a family of 2 children, and, you know, Tim and I, and, you know, probably about a year went by and we went, oh, let's have another child. And so we ended up falling pregnant and, you know, getting really excited and sharing that. And we went for our 12-week nuchal scan, and there was no heartbeat. And I was just like absolutely floored. Just takes my breath away a little bit just thinking about it now. And I do apologize to if this has triggered anybody. But I just, you know, I share this because I just want you to get a picture of how low I actually was. I ended up getting quite ill from the side effects to the point where I couldn't get out of bed without vomiting. My mum had to come and look after my 2 children because they were both not school age at that time. And I just felt like helpless and hopeless. And I didn't actually feel like I was ever going to be happy again. And by divine intervention, like you say, you know, I'm a Bob Proctor consultant, which I am, but that just didn't happen. You know, it just didn't happen without, I feel like, me sort of having that really low moment where a beautiful friend of mine reached out and she said, Gerry, have you heard about Bob Proctor? And I'm like, of course I've heard about Bob Proctor. I've been doing network marketing and all of this. But he's dead. And she's like, no, he's not. I know, pretty bad, hey.
My mentor, if I just say my mentor, Ray, he says like Bob Proctor's like, you know, 800 years. Like,
yep. And she's like, no, he's not. And I really think you should look at what he's doing. And so that's when I just started putting one foot in front of the other. And really in a short amount of time, I was like, yeah, I need to share this. I need to, you know, step out and share this. And the same feeling when I started my network marketing business. I felt like I need to share this with others because it was just too good to keep to myself. And, you know, Elsa mentioned law of attraction, but it's all really from inside. It's all really dealing with mindset and how you then show up on the outside. So I absolutely love it. And that's where I am now. So I'm actually based in, you know, central Queensland in a pretty small country town, but I work here from my home and I've got clients all throughout Queensland at the moment. But I could possibly have clients all throughout the world. So, you know, there's just no end to what we're capable of doing. And Elsa shared earlier, you know, really lifting each other up. And I really believe in that as well. You know, together we rise, and it's about helping and looking for the good in others and really finding that in ourselves and finding that in others. So, yeah.
Yeah, and like that is so important for me. I think, you know, one of the things that I want to change is this whole thing about women. I know I'm not being too general, but you know, women have a tendency to pull other women down. And so, you know, it's one of my things is I want to change that. And I know that's a really big ask, you know, globally, but I think if we start off by just shifting one person's perspective, then on how we can, if by continuously empowering other women to just continue stepping forward, and no matter how far they fly or how high they go or what they ended up doing, that we just need to be cheering each other on. Like, you know, you see like 3% of women in the US are CEOs, only 3%. Like, I want to change that, you know, and we can't be doing that. We won't be achieving that. Like, that won't go to 4% or 5% or 6% if we have this cattiness and pulling each other down. So that's why I did that live the other day, because it's one of my things that I really, really want to be an advocate for, is just championing everybody, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about, you know, because I found it fascinating how, you know, you've obviously got your business now, and how you transition from tapping into, because this is a really big deal, guys. This is a lady that went through a very low point in her life. Many of you right now are looking for that one thing that's going to create that ripple effect in your life and change you forever, right? And it just took her looking at Bob Proctor videos or quotes or whatever that connected with her and made her take that step forward. Now, from there, the next thing I knew, I saw Gerry in a conference in Canada. Right. I even remember where it is, in Canada, standing next to Bob Proctor having the photo taken. I'm going, what? Right. So can you...
So I love that you say that, because I didn't think I'd be doing that either. I just and that's the beauty of it. You, like Elsa just said, you just take one little step and you just don't know where it's going to end up. So I was pretty excited about that because I was only one of 42 people from around the world, of Bob's consultants who actually had a whole day of training just with Bob. And that night we went to dinner with him as well. So this guy is 86, soon to be 87, and he has the energy and vibrance of a 40-year-old, but the knowledge of like an 800-year-old, like what you just said. He just feels like he's been here forever. And so just to be around that energy is infectious. And then earlier this year, I also went to LA. Just before all the COVID stuff was happening. So woot woot. And again, was in a room with Bob and just incredible. And even now, like he is sharing and he is just coming from a place of just total unshakable belief in what he wants. And to me, that is so inspiring. So, Elsa, you have that as well when you say, you know, I want us to change the culture of how women show up in business, in our lives, and in the hierarchy of it all. Like, and something really that came to me was not competing, but creating.
Yes.
And that's what you're doing. You're really creating. So,
Yeah.
creating that space.
So, and how did you end up there, Gerry? Like you went from tapping into Bob Proctor. When did you the switch go? You know, this is my calling, because it is. I can see that this is your calling because it totally lights you up, and it's, you know, your whole energy changes. And for me, when I see that, you just go, yeah, this is their jam. So, like, how did you know though?
Yeah. So when I was like bottom of bottom, I just decided like, I'm going to do this for me. I'm going to start working on my mindset, using the Bob Proctor principles and tools and strategies just for me. Again, it really mirrors my network marketing journey as well. And I just started seeing like positive changes in myself, just small little things. And then, you know, friends would comment or family would be like, what are you doing? You are just showing up a little bit more authentically yourself. And it's like, yeah, I am. This is cool. Then pretty much within 3 months, I knew that I had to share this with other people. I had to, because again, you could see the passion, you can see the passion in me. And I felt alive and I felt like this is so cool. So I then decided, right, I need to start speaking in front of groups, sharing this with people, either individually or online. And again, I live in a small place, so internet's been beautiful for me. Just to link up with people all across Australia and the world. And then as I kept going through this, the more people I helped, obviously you would get recognized and they're like, holy dooly, what are you doing over there in Australia? And, you know, you're showing up in a big way. You get recognized. And then, yeah, so that's probably sort of how I sort of did it. But like so this time last year, I really made a commitment that, yep, I'm jumping in with 2 feet. I made a big decision. And this time last year, I did not think I would be seeing Bob in September in Toronto. Like I didn't even know at this stage that that was even a possibility. I just sort of thought, oh yeah, I'm, you know, jumping in. But I think it just made the decision. You know, you've got to make a committed decision. And then the universe provides the people, the resources, the opportunities that you're looking for.
That last section, I talk about that all the time. I say to people, when you make a decision, and I just, not any decision, you know, like I'll try is not a decision. That's not a decision, right? But, you know, I'll give that a go is not a decision. For me, it's like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore and I'm going to change my life. That's a decision, right? And so when you said, you know, the universe, when you decide, goes out of its way to, you know, to make all the resources available. That is why one of the key things that has changed my life, right, is when I decide. It's just amazing when I decide that, you know, say for example, I'm no longer going to be in this environment. It's incredible when the universe just presents things that are more in line with what you've been thinking about in terms of what you want. May not necessarily be the same thing that's in your mind, but it, in terms of what you need, it ticks all the boxes, right? A lot of people don't understand that, Gerry. Can you talk to that at all?
Yeah, I was going to say that's beautifully said, because It's called the path of least resistance. So you're saying you get an idea, you make a committed decision. Now, you can make a decision every day. Like you can make a decision, oh, I might do this, I might not. That's not even a decision. I say to my clients, don't ever use the word try, because I'm like, put a pen on the table and try and pick it up. And if they pick it up, I'm like, no. I said, try and pick it up. And they're like, oh, I'm so confused. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. Anytime you say, I'll try this or I'll try that, or, might take 2 steps down one path and then 2 steps down another path, and you're sort of just living in this indecision. So be really clear with what you're wanting. And again, when you're nice and clear with that, the universe knows exactly what to provide to you. And it may not look like the picture that you did have in your mind, but it might be better. It might be more abundant. It might be more exciting. So it's really cool. And I love how the universe has got your back. So, if you're going to live in indecision, you're probably going to get a lot of that. Bob Proctor says you either have big problems or big goals. And I know myself, I'm like, give me some big goals.
Yeah, I'm like that. For me, it's about give me the big goals. I see problems as opportunities. It's never ever a problem for me. It's like, okay, what's the solution here? I'm always like creating the solution, looking at it from how can we fix this versus sitting in the moment and just dwelling. I can't be that way. For me,
Yeah,
it's like
love it.
I need to just let's fix this. Like let's fix this and move on, right? And learn. Right.
Yeah.
When I switch that whole mentality around when challenges present, that's another way I look at it, right? When challenges present is where's the learning here? Because it's presented for a reason, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, I'm mentioning again my mentor Ray. I went to an event in Nashville last year, and one thing that he said that has totally changed my mind. I know you can talk to this. Was, and I never saw it this way. It's like when you make a decision, what happens is the universe will bring one big massive obstacle in front, right? And for you to overcome. And I looked at him going, that is true. Every time I've decided, something happens that makes me think, oh, this is not it. It's not meant to happen this way. Because I've always, up until that point, used to think it's meant to be one straight line, never realizing that you had to go like up and down.
So I should probably mention here the universe has a bit of a sense of humor as well. So
I love that. Yeah. And so it's funny how that happens, right? And now I look at things when challenges happen, I go, okay, well, I know why this is happening because I'm meant to grow from this experience so I can get to the other side, right? Yeah. But I know there's a lot of women in here, Gerry, that are probably feeling stuck because they've got a challenge or something and they don't know how to move forward. What would you say to women that are in that space right now?
Yeah, so I like how you say, what's the lesson? And I know some people who have taken the word problem out of their vocabulary. Yes. And they've replaced it with, say, situation. This is a situation, because we put the good or bad, we associate that with what's happened. And I'm pretty sure you could think of a situation at the time that you thought was pretty bad, like myself, so many years ago, having a miscarriage. Like, man, if I go back to there, I did not think I would ever smile again. I did not think I would ever laugh again. But then when I look at it, I look at the lesson and the blessing. So what are the lessons that I learned and what's the blessing that came from it? I know that the reason behind that was for me to step into owning who I am and step into my passion. So if you are where Elsa was just saying, like, you have problems, situation, obstacles, things in front of you, it's just about really looking at, okay, what's the blessing or the lesson? Changing your perception on it, because I think what happens is we see things just one way over and over and over again, exactly that one way. And if we just sort of stopped, stepped back and saw it from another perception, like another point of view, we'd probably find that there are opportunities in this, or there are positives that do come out, or there's even blessings. And, I don't expect you to be like, oh yeah, great, Gerry, that's awesome. A lot of what I teach my clients is this sounds really simple, but at times it's not easy. And that's one of the biggest messages I say. And even Bob Proctor himself, he was asked recently, how do you hold, your goal on the screen of your mind at all times? And he said, it's with my thinking. And you would think that that would be so easy, but it is not. Your thinking is wanting to like distract, derail, look at this, look at that. So really, just, just one little step at a time.
I like that. One little step at a time, which is what the 30-day shift is about, is just making that one shift. Now, I know you've got some nuggets. You've got plenty of nuggets. I think that's why we're probably going to bring you back, right? But what are some of the things that you want to share today for the ladies, and then we'll take a couple of questions, because I know there's I forget what it is, the law of something, but I just went, wow, that's just going to totally blow everybody away. I'm dying to know.
Oh, you're too cute. So as Elsa said, she's like, Gerry, can you get on and talk? And because my teacher, Jean kicked in, of course I'm organized, and I've written down, this is what I want to share, this is what I want to share. And, I have a lot of respect for what you're doing, Elsa, and you've got a big part of my heart because you're just a gorgeous lady. So I was like, really, I want to bring value to the people jumping on this call. I want to bring value to your group. So I thought, well, what are the 3 biggest things that I can share with you today? And so I'm going to share 3 big things, especially with the law of attraction. So the first one is to feel good. And I'll unpack that a little bit as we go on. The second step, with that law of vibration, law of attraction, is have a C-type goal. And again, I'll share that with you as well. And then the third step is I'm going to unpack the knowing doing gap for you. Okay, so I know. I came with the goodies because I'm like, oh, I've got to share.
Get my pen out. I'm getting my pen out. Look at me.
Oh, you're hilarious. Okay, so the first step is feel good. And you might be like, oh, that's a bit weird. That seems too simple. So Elsa said, the law of attraction. And Bob Proctor says the law of attraction is actually a secondary universal law. The foundational universal law that comes before that is the law of vibration. And he said when he was doing The Secret, obviously it's the law of attraction, but the law before that, the law of vibration, is really where the magic is happening. So everything is vibrating. Like, my pen is vibrating, our cells are vibrating, this table is vibrating, and your thoughts are vibrating as well. Your feelings are vibrating, and they're putting that energy out into the universe. So I say to my clients, if you learn nothing else from me, learn your job is to feel good. And I simply get them in the first couple of weeks just to repeat themselves. My job is, repeat to themselves. My job is to feel good. My job is to feel good. My job is to feel good. Because if you're feeling good, you're putting good out into the universe and you're attracting that good back to yourself. Any questions about that one, gorgeous Elsa, before I move on to my next step?
I tell you what, ladies, are you getting that? There's a few ladies watching. So, and if you have any questions for Gerry, we are going to take a couple of questions, but that seems pretty good to me. And that's a really great reminder too.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. So that's the first step. The second step is really having a goal that is worthy of your time. So Bob Proctor talks about a type A, a type B, and a type C goal. And what he means by an A-type goal is a goal that you already know how to do. So brushing your teeth would be an A-type goal. Getting dressed, unless you're my 3-year-old, would be an A-type goal. So anything like that is an A-type goal. A B-type goal is a goal that you want, but it doesn't really stretch you. You know how to get there. You know what to do. And it might be, I found a lot of my B-type goals were like my New Year's resolutions that I'd set, and I'd be a little bit excited, but they didn't really drive me. I didn't have the desire. And pretty much 2 weeks into January, I was like, nah, I'm giving up. And so a B-type goal is something that you know how to do already. And then a C-type goal is something that just inspires and lights you up. And it's your deepest desire, like what you really, really want. And the best thing about a C-type goal, and when you know you've got a C-type goal, you have absolutely no idea how to do it. And that might seem really ridiculous, but with what we've just shared about, universe has got your back. Really, when you make that committed decision on your C-type goal and that big, hairy, scary, exciting goal, universe just like gives you the people, the resources, the everything you're asking for, and just lines it all up for you. So that's the first 2. So the first step is to feel good. The second step is to have a C-type goal, a goal that is like worthy of your time. And it doesn't matter if you haven't done it in the past. It's about who you become in the process. Some of my clients say, oh, Gerry, I really want this, but I've never done it, or I don't think I can get it. Bob Proctor says, if you can see it in the mind, you can hold it in your hand. So if you can see it in the mind, you can hold it in your hand. Meaning, if you have the picture of what you're wanting, it will have to come to you. Like, there's a reason you have had that picture. There is a reason you've had that feeling. You are capable and able to do it. Maybe not with the resources that you have right now or the mindset that you have right now, but you can become that person. And I love that, because anytime I get a really cool idea, I'm like, well, if that idea's come to me, I've got to express it. Yep. I love it. And then the last thing I want to share with you guys is this thing called the knowing doing gap. So this is where probably a lot of people come unstuck. Now, what do I mean by the knowing doing gap? So the knowing doing gap is like, I know I need to do this, this, and this to achieve my goal, but then I'm not really doing it. You know, it's between, I know I've got to do this and this, but then I'm actually not following through and doing the do. So what happens is, you have these things called like limiting beliefs that hold you back. And you might know, oh, to achieve my goal, I've got to reach out to so many people, or I've got to do a Facebook Live, or I've got to show up. But then you've got these like negative beliefs that are like, no, Gerry, pull your head in. No. You know, don't put yourself out. Oh, do it on Monday. Start Monday. And it's this fight between what I know and then what I'm actually doing. And so, you know, creating the bridge between that is key. And how do you create the bridge? Well, the first part of that is to identify what those beliefs are. And a lot of the time, those beliefs are unconscious to us. So it's really understanding, I'm getting stuck in this knowing doing gap. I'm talking myself out of doing this action that I know I need to take. So, yeah, so it's really important. So they're the three like big, you know, juicy pieces for you. So just your job is to feel good, have a C-type goal, something that really, you know, inspires and drives you. And also just be aware of this knowing doing gap and catch yourself, catch those limiting beliefs. So how's that?
That's awesome. So ladies, do we have any questions? Any questions? Like, God, there's a few. If there's anyone that's got any questions.
It's really cool to see all the people. Like I see Judy, Sarah, Sarah May, Nancy. This is so cool. I love it.
So cool.
Tracy.
I have a question. I'll ask a question. So do you have like a morning routine or anything like that that you can probably share, like something, one or two things that people can implement?
Yeah. So I have a morning routine, but I've sort of created it as I've gone through. So this is definitely not where I started. When I first started, my morning routine was just do some self-study, because the more you can understand yourself, the better you can understand other people, and the more you raise your vibration.
Yep.
So each morning when I first started, each morning I'd just get up, have a drink of water, go into like our little study here, and I would just do some self-study. So I'd read a Bob Proctor book. I'd listen to maybe something on YouTube about Bob Proctor. And then from there, what I would do is I would write down my gratitudes, because that's another way of me feeling good. My job is to feel good. My job is to feel good. And then the last thing I would do in like my morning ritual was exercise. So get some exercise happening. As I've gone through, so we're looking like, you know, 2 years down the track, very similar thing. So I get up in the morning, have a drink of water. Yes. Very important for me. I do my self-study. So I'm listening to Bob. I'm watching, you know, specific videos that he puts out. I'm being guided to read different things or to read something. Then I do a little meditation. So I'm listening to music, checking in with myself, opening up and journaling. Right. I still get in and do my gratitudes because I want to feel good. My job is to feel good. And then from there, I also read, I'm reading at the moment, The Science of Getting Rich. So I read 3 chapters of that. Then I get up and go for my exercise. So that's my morning.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I love how pretty much all of it is around mindset. Even the water as well. Like, water is so good for the mind, like seriously, and the body, because it totally jerks your body as well, right? I know I listened to a guy called Jim Quick, and he says that first thing in the morning you should have a cold glass of water, but also when you're in the shower. He's a brain expert, right?
Yeah,
he says that when you go into the shower, have a cold shower, right?
Wow, I thought you were going to say have a drink of water in the shower, and I'm like, oh.
but also have a cold shower, because
Yeah.
not only does it help with inflammation, right? No, obviously I'm not making any medical claims, but he's obviously a doctor, but he says it reduces inflammation. But he also says that it actually triggers your body into like shock.
Yeah.
Right. And then it raises your peak state. You know what I mean? Because it's sort of like your body's like, whoa, what's going on here? You know?
So quite alert. Yeah.
And so it just raises almost like your vibration to get into action. Right. And it just triggers all those things in your body, neurons, whatever you want to call it. I'm no expert, right? But I do know that he said have a shower. So, you know, every now and again I do that when I'm feeling sluggish. I do. I intentionally turn the cold tap onto high, and I just go.
Oh yeah.
The crazy things that we do.
I know. I'll be thinking of you next time I do that. I'll be like,
crazy things we do to impact the world, Gerry.
Yes,
like,
that's right.
So we can create change and a ripple effect in the world. I'm thinking, well, you know, this is my path, right?
I love it.
Have we got any questions? No one's putting up questions. Everyone's just laughing at us, Gerry.
Yeah. I probably, I've got a bit of something I'd like to know. Like, what is your takeaway? So if you're listening to this or the replay, let us know what your takeaway thing is from this call, because I'd love to know, you know, what you got out of it or what you might start implementing into your life as well.
We have a question.
Ooh, go for it.
Sarah May asks, I'd love to know how you median, I think, being motivated to being fanatical.
Can you just explain that to me a little bit more, please?
I have no idea. Maybe
so Sarah May, would you mind just explaining to me a little bit more, please?
Get.
Okay. So is it maybe, how do you create the habit of doing those things over and over? Maybe I'll answer that one, and then if Sarah May writes a bit more to explain it, then I'll answer the actual question. So because, like I talked about, this knowing doing gap, and again, it sounds like so easy, but it's not simple. So sorry, it sounds simple, but it's not easy, because what happens is you are working with limiting beliefs that you may have decided as, say, a 2-year-old. And Elsa was talking about, you know, cultural change and really having each other's back. And that's a real cultural belief. And to change that, you know, you've got to have this ripple effect through like what we're doing right now and having each other's back. So the knowing doing gap is you just choose one habit at a time, because your negative or limiting beliefs are made up of like a multitude of habits that you do. And a lot of the time you do it unconsciously because you don't even realize that those habits support that limiting belief. So you go right back and you strip it right back and you just change one habit at a time. So I'll give you an example, and this is one that I work on with my clients. So say, for example, a client's like Gerry, the early bird gets the worm. I know I need to get up early because I want some time to myself before say the kids get up and hubby gets up and all of that. And so we work out what's the time that you want to get up where you'll get, you know, you time, you'll get me time in the morning. And they might say, well, I want to get up at 5 o'clock every morning. I want to spring out of bed. So we look at the habits that are creating them to maybe sleep in or snooze or whatever. So we look at, say, well, what are you currently doing? Oh, I've got my phone beside the bed. When the buzzer goes off, I press snooze, 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 snooze. So then what we do is we just change one of those habits. And the habit might be you go to bed earlier, so you're feeling more refreshed and you're getting your 8 hours sleep. A habit might be putting the phone in another room. A habit might be having your clothes laid out beside you, so as soon as your feet hit the floor, those clothes go straight on. You know, you just change one of those habits to create really good momentum. How long do you have to do that for? As long as it takes. And that's so frustrating because Bob Proctor, you know, that's pretty much his answer. You know, how long do I have to do this for, Bob? As long as it takes, as long as it takes, because we're all so different. We don't know how ingrained those limiting beliefs are. So you might do this for a week and just be like automatically getting up at 5. You might do this and realize, you know what? That wasn't the habit. It was actually this habit that was that I'm doing that keeps me sleeping in. So then you're like, well, that's what I'm going to focus on. And you might do it for 3 weeks. You might do it for 6 months. You might do it for a day, and then it becomes automatic. So we're all different.
That's awesome.
That help?
It does help. What about this one? So she's explained us how to keep at a medium pace and cope with external factors like kids.
Cool. I love it because I have two beautiful kids. And yeah, so what I do the night before is I write down 6 goal achieving actions that I want to do the next day. So that when I get up in the morning, I know exactly what I need to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I choose the time that I'm going to do it. So you may have heard of like time blocking. So instead of looking at my day on Sunday, I look at my week. And I say, right, this is when I'm going to get up for me time and do my self-study in the morning. This is when I'm exercising. I know Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I have my youngest son home. Thursday, Friday, he's off to kindy. So I know that Thursday, Friday are fantastic days for me to work on my business. So I've really done some time blocking, looking at my whole week. The other thing as well is when you are with the kids, be with the kids. When you are in your business, be in your business. I used to do this thing where I was multitasking and I was half-assing everything. Something I learned when I was doing my network marketing as well is look for pockets in your day. So you might look at your week and you're like, geez, I've got nothing from 12:30 to 1:30 on a Tuesday. What am I actually doing in that time? So look for your pockets, and it might not be like an hour, it might be 15 minutes. But definitely like just focus on one thing at a time and give that your attention. I know from, one of the positive things about us being home more is the fact that we have spent so much quality time together. And it's just been so beautiful. So I make sure I'm out of my office, my phone is off when I am, like when my kids are home from school, so that I can be there with them. I can have quality time. I'm also not above asking for help. So if I need help, I ask for help or I employ. So, you may not be at that stage, but if you are, leverage your time. So if you absolutely hate cleaning, Bob Proctor says, do, delegate, or ditch. So if you hate something, maybe it's something you delegate. Maybe you get a cleaner in. Maybe it's something you ditch. Obviously, cleaning maybe not something you ditch, but
I wish we could ditch.
But if it's something you love, like do it. And if that's your strength, do it. If it's something you can delegate, see if you can delegate that, outsource it, leverage your time. Or if you can totally ditch it, ditch it. So yeah, that would be my advice, but really good question. And Sarah May, if you don't feel like I've answered it enough or given more detail, I'm happy just to, jump in and add more to that as well. So
yeah, no worries. That was really good for me. Like when you said the, do, delegate, or ditch,
yeah.
I know that in my discussions with women, one of their biggest beliefs or blocks that they create is this whole idea that if they become successful, that they'll lose that time with their family. Yeah. Right. And little do they know is that many successful women actually delegate. They're not doing, they have this vision in their mind that, this powerful woman is operating like 27 hours a day behind the computer, and then neglecting their children. Yeah. Most people that are, most of the women that are successful, they get it VAs, and they'll have assistants, and they delegate stuff that is just not, that they don't need to touch, and that way it gives them that freedom to be able to spend time with their family and be present. So, and I just said to them, you don't have to worry about that right now. So, remove that block, because everything is figure outable. I'm taking on Marie Forleo's.
I know. How good is she? I love her.
I say that all the time now. Everything is figure outable. Like, we can figure this out. Right. And so, Gerry, I could just talk and talk forever with you. Like, seriously, I love this stuff, like law of attraction, raising vibration. I'm into the quantum physics now, the
yes.
quantum, and it's, this, all of that stuff really, really fascinates me, because sometimes I will mention something to Olaf. Yeah. And I'll say blah, 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 blah. And then like within a few days, sometimes not even that much, something will present to do with what I just spoke about. And I like at the very beginning, Olaf would look at me and go, it's not what you spoke about. Whereas now he goes, we're on path. Right?
Yes, it's so cool. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me, Elsa. I just have really appreciated you asking me to do this, and I'd love to hear people's takeaways, and I'll check after the replay and everything, and if you have any questions, please just reach out. But I'm happy to come back as well. This has been
We're
fun.
going to bring Gerry back, guys. Can you please list in the comments all your takeaways? We'll bring Gerry back over the next week or so when her time permits. And you're also going to have this recording in the podcast as well. And obviously the recording in the group. Thanks so much, Gerry, for being so incredible and for giving us so much value. And guys, thanks for hopping on. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Gerry.
Bye.
See everybody. Bye-bye.